All right, hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is episode 11 on this Sunday morning. It's getting a little colder here in Canada, so everyone's bundling up and I guess switching on their heat. But yeah, so we're sitting at 251 followers, so thank you guys for everyone who followed. And yeah, it's like another 10 followers this week from last week's video, so amazing. Super grateful to everyone who follows. And as always, my goal is to provide good quality research and setups. So this week's video might be a little shorter. We just have Ticker Tuesday and not a lot of posts, but thank you for everyone who did post. And we'll just go through all these tickers this week. And in terms of news, I guess this week there wasn't much news. I think because we had um, you know Ticker Tuesday obviously, and then this NIO update. It's ironic. I'll just go over this after the Ticker Tuesday you know analysis, but it's like we were trying to just put out a poll and see what people think of where NIO is, and I think it just closed at 770, which was so funny. But yeah, it is definitely getting interesting. So NIO is something that I am excited about. Tilray was another one that I kind of missed to talk about in last week's video, even though we did have an open buy on it. But then, yeah, it shot up 60% on one of the days. It was kind of crazy. And then I just put a multiple Tilray posts about that. So we'll go over Tilray as well. And then we'll go over those two stocks that I talked about last week, which was, I think, WTTR and JAMF. I believe they didn't do too well this week, which was funny as soon as I posted them to the public. But I think they're still holding well so far. So, anyways, coming to this week's tickers. So the first one was IAU, and usually I don't go over because I believe we went over this last week as well. And But since there's not much going on, we can go through them again. So IAU was this gold trust, and I remember mentioning that hey, it's at an all-time high. Sometimes it's quite hard to figure out where that would go, but with gold being on a tear and everyone is, I guess, flocking to gold, um, this trust is doing well, and we're getting multiple buy setups as well. I believe we covered it on the 15th or the 22nd, I can't remember. And I was saying, like, just see if it's able to cross that on the VWAP or even break the higher highs. And it's doing really well. So from we had a gap up here, we had another gap up here, and then another gap up here. So it's showing a lot of buyer pressure, buyer momentum. It's beating the anchored VWAP as well. Closes above the highs of the VWAP. So we have a buy setup again this week. And so if you want to take a risk, you could do buy it at that. I would think that since it's now, you know, what's the word? It's going further away from the top of the VWAP. Usually it'll retrace, test that VWAP, and then try to launch higher. So there might be a little bit of pullback, but definitely looking bullish right now for IAU. The next one was Coinbase. And Coin, I'm not too sure actually right now because I thought, you know, we already made our run with Bitcoin doing so well in the past year, and you can see, I mean, I thought that Coinbase would do a lot better in terms of the run, but it definitely did have a lot of major pullbacks, and you can see by these swings, So that's if I can just draw it. So that swing over there, and then that swing over there. So it's yeah, a lot of major swing backs. Oh, I actually didn't. I don't know if it actually got that. So I realized, I thought all this time that it was my internet being slow, but it's actually my PC with the video software just lagging like crazy. And so that's actually what's causing this to be super slow. So I guess time to upgrade and get a new PC. But yeah, in terms of Coinbase, I would have been buying it here in 23 just before the bull run with Bitcoin as well, or every crypto. And so it is interesting to see that there is a couple of buy signals coming up, but Bitcoin's at an all-time high. It's slowly, coming down a bit and then shooting back up. Not sure what it's trying to do. But in terms of a setup, we do have a setup this week. As usual, I'd probably try to wait and see if it's able to hold that. So as of now, we're just sitting here in terms of the anchored VWAP and just seeing if it can break that higher high and build some momentum. I mean, it did look like we had momentum here. So if I pull that VWAP back to like here, um, you can see where it broke over there really well. That's probably where I would have gotten. You might have to hold it a little bit in the negative, but then at least you got that big of a run. Might not have been a lot, but how much was that? That was probably on the, let's say on the close of that was a 55, so not bad. So yeah, I would do the same thing, see if it's gonna cross that anchored VWAP just to confirm if we are building momentum in that direction. The next one is OVV, and I believe there was no signal for this one. It was closed on a red day, I believe, or red week. Yeah, so not much going on. We had a couple of buy signals, but as you can see, not a lot of momentum. It's just very sideways. If I move that VWAP to, so that first point, um, if we can load, I guess it didn't move. Let me just try it again. Um, Yeah, sorry guys, something wrong. It's taking a while to load. But you can see that it's not able to break that. It might have broken that, but then from there also not much. There we go. So the close was there 38.18 and the high was 38.07, so barely, but then you got this little of a spike and then again a big dump. So not much movement in terms of this, you know, again, these are weekly candles, so you're looking at a long time here, right? Because we're looking back all the way to May of this year, and now we're in October. Um, I think sometimes it's easy to forget that these are not like daily or hourly candles. So this is a long period that you're looking at, and it hasn't moved. So that's showing me that there is either consolidation happening before this earnings news, before it'll pop, and we don't know which direction it'll pop based on earnings. But seeing this red, a lot of these red candles, just taking out the entire green setups doesn't make me too confident for the stock. And also, I mean, yeah, it is also a pretty large cap stock, so they are quite slow movers as well sometimes. The next one was HOND. I believe this is just an acquisition company. Um, and this one, I feel, based on the chart, the move has already happened. We had a couple of buy setups here in April of 2025, and then another buy setup in May before the rocket up, and so that was an insane run, I would think, because I was just trying to see if we did get onto that buy, which would be, so usually our strategy is, obviously we get the first buy, see if it breaks above, and we're trying to see if it'll go past the stop loss. And in this case, it just was slowly building, so we'd start the VWAP over there. The close over here was 1095, and the high of the VWAP was 1098. So again, not big of a confirmation. You have a buy here at 1070, sorry, 1175 and 1161. So that was a good close. So you probably could have bought there, but then there was a lot of months there holding in the negative. Another way we could have done it is also, if we found the stock recently, it would be moving the anchored VWAP over there. And this one also was barely a close, but I think it was close, 1207, 1206, yeah. And so buying over there, that would be your perfect setup. But I think it would be just luck based on when you actually got in. That's 39% and 47% on the high, so not bad. In terms of the move now, I'm not too sure because it has stretched already quite a bit. There is buy setups happening, throughout the move, and that's expected because you have a lot of buyers stepping in, a lot of momentum. It's pushing the stock higher and higher. But you're getting these massive wicks now, and so there's a little bit of indecision there. Lots of buyers coming in, but also a lot of sellers, and so I'd expect the stock to retrace a bit. If it's got good news or good momentum, probably come back to this midpoint of the VWAP. Worst case, the low point of the VWAP before it's shooting back up for its next move up. At least that's what I think in terms of this stock. Fairly new stock as well. I mean, this only is last year. um, so yeah, those are the three stocks or four stocks, sorry, for Ticker Tuesday. And again, buy setup on HOND right now at the top of that. Buy setup on Coin and buy setup at for IAU. So now public stocks, we're still holding BWMX. It's still, hovering around that anchored VWAP. Not able to decide, I guess, which way it wants to go. So let me just change this guy to here. And you can see once this loads that, wow, today it's really taking quite a while. Yeah, so you can see over there, I'm thinking that it's going to slowly touch that red, maybe go to the gray. Our stop loss is, I believe, around 970 or somewhere around there, 10% from where we bought it. So yeah, we're still holding BWMX. I think it's just consolidating before that earnings, and hopefully earnings does well. And if it does, from there, if it's trying to hit analyst predictions, so that's 12 to 22, it might jump to 24, so that's another 100%. So definitely a good stock, and happy that we got in for the first leg. Let's see what happens to the second leg now. And then our favorite stock, NIO, which I found really ironic because it honestly felt like you were trying to break open a little, ceiling, but very, very difficult. Um, so as you can see over here, it closed, I think, one day. So let me just go to the daily over here. And so you can see over here, it closed one day above that 771, but then it had a red day and it just closed at 770. So I yeah, so I really don't know what's gonna happen. Tomorrow we'll see what happens in terms of if it's able to hold at least a couple of days above that 771. What is nice is you don't have this, one big red candle day, but you have slow movement around that point. That shows me that there's a little bit of consolidation building, lots of buyers coming in, and there's a bit of a tug of war happening. And so let's see if it's able to push past. The other thing that, from that anchored VWAP, it's really pressed, really further out. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some consolidation. And I think that's what most people said. They were like, we expect a pullback to the consolidation. I think even I selected that. But it would have been really cool if it did shoot up and have a breakout on the way all the way to $8. I even posted this just for fun, one of the moon setups. If it goes straight to $10. Um, but yeah, let's see how this stock does. We are in NIO, and we're still holding it. And this stock, can definitely move because if you see in the past, it has moved quite a bit. Now, granted, this was, a typical COVID 2020 move where there was a lot of money being printed and everything was pumped into the stock market. But what makes me confident is this slow build up, and that shows me that there's a lot of institutional money coming in. Because I mean, yeah, you do get a bunch of hedge funds that'll push it up and get those gains. But when you get these slow moves, that's institution money slowly building their positions, and this is the type of stock that I would like to be in long term. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in 1 or 2 years if NIO is sitting at 30 or 40, or even 60. Um, but in zooming in, and again, when we're zooming in, this is weekly setups, right? So it's still zoomed out, I guess. But there is definitely a lot of buyer momentum building, and I mean, sorry, just keep moving my chart around, but I'm just trying to get a good view of that. So to have, how many ever candles this is, that's um that's 84 days, and that's 12 bars, so 12 weeks. So that's a lot of months where you have buying pressure every week. So that makes me really confident in terms of NIO. So let's see what it does. Closed 1 cent below what we wanted, but let's see if it's able to push. The next one was Resolve AI. I didn't post anything for this because it actually came down and then it shot back up like crazy. I think there was 25% days and 15% days, but it actually never broke any of the previous highs. So I was like kind of a waste of a post. But as you can see, we did the buys. That's our sell over there. We sold some 75% position. We were still holding 25%. And it looks like they did well in earnings, and they also have really good forecasts for the future. So let's see how it's able to build up in terms of the movement. But as of now, again, same thing. Lots of buyer pressure. We're getting a buy setup almost every week. And yeah, just holding this for now. And then the last one, which I missed, was TLRY. This one was, again, lots of news from, I guess, lots of hype or news that there might be a possibility that they will be, they might have some reclassification for cannabis stocks. But again, there's nothing confirmed. It's all hype, and I think everyone's just on that hype train. It's just rumor on the news. And so, but what I found cool is that our strategy was able to get that set up. We were able to do the buy and execute and even sell at good points, and we're still holding 25% position for this stock. So what I found interesting is, when I actually bought Tilray, I never had this anchored VWAP confirmation. And so I was curious, like, what did it actually say? And I believe I was just blindly following initially when I bought Tilray. So that first buy setup, I posted to my group, and we all bought it over here. And if you actually look at the anchored VWAP, there's no confirmation that actually happens. Maybe this one. So that was a close of $1.03, and it was a high of $1.04. So again, not so much. Clearly this one, so maybe we would have bought there. But the gain from here to the top of that versus from here to the top of that, definitely big difference, right? Um, so yeah, I would say this one in hindsight was a bit of a risky play if we just straight up bought from here. Um, but yeah, it worked out. I guess we were lucky there. But yeah, that's still Ray. We're still holding this. It's looking really good in terms of the volume, also really high volume and lots of momentum. But I'm not sure how far or how well it can sustain, just because most of it is on news. They did terrible on the previous earnings. So let's see how they're doing in this week's earnings, which should be, I guess it's next week. Yeah. So let's see how they do. And that's still right. And so the last one was, oh, sorry, second last one was WTTR, which I mentioned last week. It was a buy that had a lot of momentum building up. I believe we posted it publicly on the 15th here. Um, and if I just move this anchored VWAP over there. And so I thought I moved that, but I guess it didn't move. maybe it did. It's taking a while. So, anyways, we got the confirmation over here. That's when we posted it. It was up 1 week. It's down. It was down this past week. So let's see how it reacts. And earnings is coming in a couple of weeks. So that is WTTR. JAMF as well didn't do too well. It's ironic that the week that I posted these two publicly, the next week it literally goes down. But that is life, I guess. And so this one, what made me super confident was just, again, same like NIO or BWMX or Resolve AI. We just had these lots of buy setups. So definitely something brewing. But it's confusing me because fundamentally, and even all analysts are very, bearish on the stock. So I don't understand where this momentum is coming and how are we getting this V-shape recovery. Um, is it hedge funds coming in and slowly buying in? Because again, what I found very interesting is my setups are finding this, the move before the massive news. So is that insider trading? I don't know because how is my strategy able to pick up something on, for example, open door technologies before that hedge fund even announced the news? So yes, so definitely something interesting is happening here in terms of the momentum building. I mean, it could be nothing, just could be freaking fake out people just pushing it up to get retailers stuck up here, and they dump it again. But for us, we had the first buy set up in August, and the next one confirmed it, which was an 887 and 80. So this is where we actually bought it, and so we're already up quite a bit. Um, I guess now we're up 18%, but we were up around 30%. And then publicly, when I posted it, I think I was somewhere over here. So not a lot of gain from when I publicly posted it. But yeah, definitely something interesting happening with JAMF, and I'm not sure why. So those were the stocks as of now that we're looking at. And yeah, as always, follow me on Blossom Social. Check out my Patreon page. It's free, but there's also a paid subscription. That's where I put some of the newer stocks. And that's it for this week. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video and see you guys next week.